Let's talk more about this with the Labour MP for South West Norfolk, Jermy, who joins us now. Terry, good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Chris.
Well, what's the general reaction you've had from those who live in and around Thetford about the last two banks closing? Is there concern?
I think there's a mixture of emotions, really. I think a lot of people are actually quite sad. I mean, I grew up in Thetford. We've always had banks here, and by the end of the month, there won't be a single bank left, and that is quite sad. They're part of our heritage in the high street, but also on a sort of more practical basis, there is concern, obviously, because there are plenty of people that still use banks, and particularly if you're a small business and there's an element of cash. For a practical point of view, people are concerned, and we're obviously working hard to get the message out that the banking hub is coming.
We'll talk more about the hub in a moment, but we've had this similar situation played out in a number of Norfolk towns in recent times, banks closing and people getting very concerned about it. But no matter how often you say to the banks, look, that actually these branches are important and there are people that want to use them, that they don't seem to take any notice, that they seem convinced that actually there aren't enough people who want to use personal banking.
Absolutely, and I think Thetford's a big town. It's one of the biggest towns in Norfolk, and if we can't sustain a bank, then I'm not sure there are many communities in Norfolk that can either. I get a bit frustrated every time I go to use the bank. There are certainly people in there. There's clearly a demand for it, but the banks will say it's not enough of a demand. There's obviously other forces at play here. They need to make a profit as well. So it is frustrating. I get people's concern. We've been pushed onto online services, but there are still lots of things that you need to do in the bank itself. And I think there is still a role for cash in our society. So, I completely get people's frustrations.
And I know you've campaigned and you've helped to set up the banking hub. Just tell us a bit more about that. How much do you think that will ease concerns, and how much of a favour will that be for people?
Well, I've run my own small business prior to being the Member of Parliament for the last 10 years, and there's an element of cash with that, and I work with lots of other small businesses in Thetford. So that ability to bank cash if you're a small business is absolutely crucial, which is why I put quite a bit of time in as the MP working with the banking hub providers to make sure that there is no gap in provision. There's going to be a temporary banking hub opened as soon as the other banks close, whilst we wait for the longer term provision that's coming. But that ability to bank cash as well as checks and as well as actually speak to a human being, all can be done with the temporary service and with the main banking hub when it does come. So actually, in terms of provision, hopefully people won't notice anything different in terms of what they could do now versus what they can do in the future. It just won't be an all singing, all dancing individual branch, but actually lots of different banking services all under one roof.
The government says it's committed to 350 banking hubs being open across the UK by the end of this Parliament, but there is some concern, and I know you've been involved in the process for Thetford, as to how long it actually takes to get one for a town. Could it be sped up, that process?
Well, I find it a little bit odd that there is a whole temporary banking hub team and a permanent banking hub team, and they're two separate departments of the process. So I find that a little bit frustrating, and why we can't get everything in order so that as soon as the bank closes, you have your permanent banking hub. Obviously, the Guildhall is a good location in Thetford. It's in the town centre. It's easily accessible, which is why I've negotiated with the town council to make sure that that is available. But it would make a lot more sense if we could actually just move straight into the permanent solution. And also, I think the term banking hubs is still relatively new. I mean, we've got over 150, I think it is now, across the country. In South West Norfolk, there's actually one already in Downham Market. They are becoming more common. People will get more and more used to them, I'm sure. But they're still quite a new phenomenon, shall we say? And I'm pleased the government are committed to rolling more out across the country. And ultimately, no community should be denied access to those banking services and cash handling services.